How about you, Debbie? Tell us one of your early stories.
Well, I got my first guitar when I was 9, and I started writing songs when I was 9, and I figured I always wanted to be a singer. Dad said you can't make a living, so in my high school annual I said I'm going to be an orthodontist and a singer. And so after UCLA, I was a pre-med. I decided I would go to med school, but I didn't get in the first year, so I went to Nashville to be a singer.
Isn't this unbelievable?
I wanted to sing in a country band. So I dropped the Berg from Greenberg, and Derryberry is my real name. Got married to Doug Derryberry and sang in country bands, but the only jobs I got that paid were me going in and singing like a baby. So I did jingles singing like a baby for a few years, and then somebody cast me as a 12-year-old scout in a Tennessee rep play. I had been doing theater my whole life also, never with any intention of making a living at it because my dad said, you can't make a living at it. So somebody saw me on stage doing scout at the Tennessee rep and cast me in a TV show as a 12-year-old boy in Jim Varney. Remember Jim Varney? Hi Vern, it's Ernest. He had a TV show. Yes. They wanted me to be the boy clown in makeup, so I said, yep. Then I got in SAG, and I was still singing kids' jingles. And then I thought, well, I'll do body double work for 12-year-old boys, too. And I was on body doubling these kids in Ernest Goes to Camp in the middle of the forest in Nashville. And this mom says, Debbie, do you ever think of doing voiceover? And I'm like, what's that? She said, cartoon voices. And I'm like, what's that? Because, my older brother had control of the remote. I never got to choose. I thought Fred Flintstone was just Fred Flintstone. I never knew it was a way to make a living. So I had all my little jingles, and I sent them off to these directors this lady told me to send them to back in L.A. And they said, great voice, you need to live in L.A. again. So I moved myself back to Los Angeles, signed with an agent. She walked my hand in, and it was actually the same agent. That's where we met. And she said, you should give this girl a chance. She sounds like a kid. And I started booking voiceover jobs within a couple weeks, 30 years ago.
Isn't that unbelievable? It's pretty interesting.
Wow.
So the two of you have both voiced so many characters, and you've done so much with your lives so far. What are you most proud of? What do you think about and say, you know what, I'm so glad I did that? What brings you the greatest joy through this whole journey so far?
My daughters. I'm so in love with my children. I mean, I really have to say, I was one of those people that have a really great career, and I've been super blessed. But I worked my butt off for it, and there were times where it was really tough, But it was consistently tough and consistently good, But I have to say, the one thing that I wanted my whole life was I didn't want to be one of those people that turned in their 40s and didn't have children, and spent their whole lives being so damn ambitious in these careers. Entertainment is so self-obsessed, and it's so much about ourselves and making it and being seen, that I didn't want to be that person that walked around in my life, and at the end of the day, I didn't have these beautiful children to go spend time with. So for me, I have to say, that drove me more than anything, was having these beautiful children, and the fact that I can today teach my children about enjoying their life and being balanced, and also how to, do all the things they love to do artistically. I mean, I represent that. My kids will be like, Mom, should I do that? I'm like, do it. Should I do that? I'm like, do that. Should we do that? Yes, do it.
Be fearless.
Yeah,
right?
It's about being fearless. So that's the representation of a parent that I am now today, as I say, do whatever makes you joyful, whatever makes you happy, whatever lights your fire, whatever turns you on. It's do those things, even if it feels like people are saying, don't do it, that's stupid. If I'd have listened to all the people in my career that said how stupid something was that I wanted to do, I would never have done, I wouldn't have an IMDb page down to the floor, because I didn't care what anybody said, because I wasn't raised, I didn't have that experience that Debbie had, where my parents were trying to get me to be a doctor or a thing. My parents were like these little Europeans. They didn't have any experience in this country, so they didn't really know. My mom was just encouraged me to do whatever I could do, because she couldn't help me.
Talk like her.
And my mother does like this. Anyway.
Do that.
My mother does like this. She says, she's, I don't know.
Elizabeth, what do you?
Yeah, Elizabeth, what you doing? And I was like, why do you think you do that? So, I'm really grateful that I didn't have that. And then as I grew older, I really have learned to apply the fact that I don't listen to anyone, that I listen to my intuition and my bliss and my joy, and I listen to what makes me happy, and that's what I listen to. And when someone tells me I can't, I'm like, watch me. When someone says, there's no age, and I'm like, really? Watch this. That's what I do today, and that's what I try to teach my children and anybody else that I talk to. don't listen to anybody say no.
So I think I told you both that I just was, taking in all this research all day today just so that I could be prepared to talk to you both.
Awesome.
And Uberfax told me that you recorded a commercial or something while in labor.
Oh no, I was doing, this is exactly what I was doing, that's really funny.
Talk about being ambitious.
You can't get away with anything over the internet anymore, can you? No, what happened was I was actually doing a Rugrats episode, and I was in the booth, and I had gone to the doctor the day before because I thought I was in labor, and I was like, I think I'm in labor, I'm having contractions all the time, and he's like, you're fine, you're not in labor. I'm like, okay. So I had a Rugrats session. I went to my session. I was reading my lines. Hold on your diapers. Going in. And then I'd be like, hold please. I'd literally be like contracting, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm ready. And after like a bunch of those, the engineer was like, hey, do you know your contractions are like...
He was timing them.
He was a dude. He was a young man whose wife had just had a baby, so he knew there was a clock thing. And he said, E.G., you're having these contractions. And I was like, no, I'm fine. Doctor says I'm not in labor. And literally within hours, I was in labor. And Debbie actually cut the cord for both my kids.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now there's a new piece of information. So the two of you are truly great friends.
Yeah.
Well, if it hadn't been for each, I've been a dog rescuer forever, and I thought that was just going to be my life.
Wait,
and
orthodontist, dog rescue?
Yes, I've done dog rescue. I'm one of those people that must stop the car and get that done. And E.G. knows I'm a controlling mama kind of person, and I have to fix everything. I'm one of those people that
she does.
I must prepare, fix, and make everything perfect. And she's like, you need a kid. So I went on AOL, Love Online, and found a husband and got a kid.
See what we find out in these interviews here?
And then, just like her husband at the time was like, yeah, I'm not cutting those cords. He looked at me, and I was like, I got it. And in my delivery room, each was there, and she looked at my husband, and he was like,
Green.
yeah, green, not cutting that. So we
Shade
cut
green.
each other's kids' cords.
Yeah.
And so,
So you're connected really for life,
Yeah,
aren't you?
we're
pretty much.
Debbie, tell me in terms of your pride, obviously your children,
Yeah.
but in terms of characters, what character that you've done really sings to you, that really is you?
Well, I gotta
There are
say,
so many.
there are a lot. And it's fun that there's so many different ones that reflect different parts of who I am or who I'm not that I want to be. And of course, having been a pre-med at UCLA, I'm like, what am I ever going to do with all those upper division level calculus and chemistry and biochem? And I thought, when I got those Jimmy Neutron scripts, I was like, I know these words.